Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got a fun one for you. I'm going to be talking about how to build Dragon Tribal in Commander, going through the top staples of Dragon Tribal to illustrate, well, what we should be doing, what in the world these cards are, and why dragons dominate. Let's jump into them after I mention that, of course, there's a handy-dandy link in the description below to all these cards. Now, let's jump into them. First up, in no particular order, Dragon Lord Servant is the first tribal staple I'm going to be talking about for dragons. A massive one, a 1/3 Goblin Shaman for just 2 mana in red that says, very simply, dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. This obviously replicates what the Dragon does, and of course, if you're playing the Dragon, it doubles up on that. Reducing the cost of our dragon spells is massive because, well, a lot of our dragons are massive. They cost a decent amount, and by reducing the cost of their spells, we can get to them quicker and play multiple on a single turn. So yeah, this 28-cent gem is an absolute must for dragon decks. There's a reason why it's one of the top played cards of all time for dragons. And of course, here's the thing, it's in red. The vast majority of dragon decks, almost all dragon decks out there are in red. So yeah, you basically have access to it, and it is an amazing card for you. But of course, we need to step things up a little bit with Dragon Speaker Shaman, a 2/2 Human Barbarian Shaman for 3 mana in red that simply says, dragon spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Yeah, I mean, this is basically just doubling up on our little goblin friend and now saying, hey, our dragons are even cheaper. This is a super simple way to really quickly accelerate our game plan. I mean, even if we don't ramp, let's say we do not ramp at all, okay? Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 land, we play this. Turn 4, all of a sudden we can play a dragon that would have cost 6, as long as we hit our land drop, obviously. So being able to get a dragon out super early that we shouldn't be able to get out, essentially without ramping, and if we do ramp, we can do one that, you know, costs 7 basically on that same turn. We can get out some really massive creatures really quickly, and again, this really helps accelerate our game plan. It helps us play multiple dragons on the exact same turn as well. So yeah, a massive cost reducer for us, an absolute must in Dragon Tribal. $1.38 again. This has seen some reprints, so luckily it has knocked the price down a bit, but yeah, a great staple for us. Next up, Scourge of Valkis. Such a cool card. A 4/4 dragon with flying for 5 mana in red. It says, whenever it or another dragon enters battlefield under your control, deals X damage to any target Rexy number of dragons you control. By the way, by paying red, it gets ++0 until end of turn, also known as fire breathing, because, you know, dragons. Yeah, this is one that is such a heavy hitter for us. Again, literally on ETB, it dishes out damage to any target, and then when any dragons come into play, dish out damage. Again, any target is huge because not only is it, well, creature removal, planeswalker removal, it's also player removal at a certain point. Once we flood the board with dragons, we can just decimate our opponents in absolutely no time with this gem. There's a reason why this sees so much play because, well, it is so versatile. Again, it's basically removal while also being a massive threat for us, again, to take out players. Such a solid card. Yeah, there's a reason why it is seeing so much play in Dragon Tribal. Moving on, now a very expensive staple, but again, one that is toward the top, essentially, of the charts when it comes to Dragon Tribal staples. Terror of the Peaks is nearly $30, and yet it still sees so much play. We'll see if Wizards ever reprints it. A 5/4 dragon with flying for 5 mana in red. Spells your opponent's cast that target it will going to cost an extra 3 life, so a little bit of protection there, which is nice. That being said, whenever another creature enters battlefield under control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So again, very similar to Scourge of Valkis. Again, it is pseudo removal for us, while also being player removal too, basically. It does all the things, it does all the above. It is such a great card. And it does it based off of power. So again, even if we don't have that many dragons in play, obviously our dragons are almost always quite large. I mean, think about playing the Dragon. You're like, oh yeah, there's 10 damage, I can just dish out to anything. That will take out any creature on the board. Of course, any planeswalker on the board as well. And yes, it can even just take out your opponent's faces too. So yeah, it's a very solid card. Again, there's a reason why it's so expensive. We'll see if Wizards ever reprints it. But yet, even with that price tag, it still sees so much play in Dragon Tribal because it is such a solid card. Moving on, Gold Span Dragon. One that used to be a lot more expensive than this, but still is decently expensive at $6. Hopefully it gets another reprint soon. A 4/4 Dragon for 5 mana in red, flying haste. Whenever this creature attacks, it becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasure you control have tap, sacrifice artifact at 2 mana of any one color. So here's the thing about this one. There are a good amount of dragons out there that actually deal with treasure, which, yeah, kind of makes sense. Like a dragon, hoarding treasure. Cool, all right, awesome. And this one says, hey, your treasures are doubly as effective. Even outside of that, though, this is literally a dragon that, yes, does cost 5, but it does immediately give you back 2 mana on attack. And, of course, with each attack, it will give you back 2 mana, essentially. So it keeps paying for itself, basically, again and again and again and again throughout the game. On top of it, again, doubling up every single one of your treasure tokens that you're going to be making from other sources as well. So yeah, this is a high value card, a very high value card for you, one that can absolutely dominate on the table, again, giving you so much mana in a turn that, well, your opponent's heads will spin, you'll drop every single dragon into play, and then they'll just lose the game. Yeah, this is a very solid dragon, again, in mono red, so yeah, it can just apply to basically any dragon deck out there. Again, the vast majority have red. I'm not saying every single one does, but almost all of them do. So yeah, there's a reason why it sees so much play for all the value it is giving you. Next up, let's move on to some enchantments, though. First up, Dragon Tempest. Yeah, this might be the kind of most dragony card of all time, probably. Enchantment for 2 mana in red. Whenever a creature flying enters battlefield under your control, it gains haste till end of turn. Whenever a dragon enters battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to any target X the number of dragons you control. When it comes to haste is typically like a fervor type cost, right, for enchantments. Typically 3 mana, okay, it gives all your team haste, all right? This one is, yes, technically more specific. All right, it has to be flyers. Here's the thing. Basically, all your dragons have flying. Yes, there you go. Oh, on top of that, again, dragons coming into play. X damage to any target, X the number of dragons you control. This is literally just like, oh yeah, hey, Scourge of Valkus on an enchantment with haste granting fly. Like, what in the world is happening with this one? Again, it's so low to the ground. It's so amazing. It is such a necessity in Dragon Tribal because it is literally, again, haste enabling, again, aggressive enabling, again, removal enabling. It does all the things you want it to do. Player removal, basically, creature removal, planeswalker removal, all the things in the world. It is such an amazing card on such a small package. Again, just 2 mana for this enchantment, a must-have in Dragon Tribal. Moving on, let's expand out to some other colors, though. Yeah, Temur has definitely become a good combination of colors for Dragon Tribal. I mean, a lot of Dragon Tribal is literally 5 color, but yeah, if you have to pare it down, Temur is a good pairing for that. Enchant for 3 mana, again, in Temur. Creatures you control have haste. Whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, you may draw a card. This is an amazing enchantment for a lot of decks out there, but especially for dragons, because again, being able to be aggressive with our dragons is huge. Swing right away. There's a good amount out there that do have, attack triggers essentially, or combat damage triggers. On top of that, of course, yeah, the amount of card advantage we get out of this is absurd. Basically, all of our dragons are going to have power 4 or greater, so every single time we have dragons enter, whether they be token dragons or regular dragons, we are drawing a card. So yeah, this can grant us, again, the power to be aggressive, as well as the power to keep our hand full and then some. It is such a solid enchantment, especially for Dragon Tribal. In a very similar way, in Dragon Tribal, we also have Garruk's Uprising, which has a picture of dinosaurs on it, not dragons, but yeah, basically the same thing. Enchantment for 3 mana in green. Whenever this enchantment enters, if you control a creature power 4 or greater, draw a card. Yeah, you've got dragons. You're going to check that box. You're going to draw a card. This cantrip for you. Creatures you control have trample. That's lovely. Again, our dragons typically have flying, meaning they're already evasive, but if our opponents have flying blockers, congratulations. Our flyers are going to be bigger than theirs most of the time, and we're going to trample over some damage. On top of that, again, because that all wasn't enough, whenever a creature you control of power 4 or greater enters, draw a card. Again, exact same thing as Temur Ascendancy, essentially, where we have an enchantment for 3 in play that is just going to be giving us so much card advantage throughout the game. Again, whether that is a token dragon or a non-token dragon, it does not matter. We get a ton of support from this card. We get to keep our hand full, and again, we get to trample through that damage with this. It does so much for us throughout the game. Such an amazing card for Dragon Tribal, and again, so incredibly budget-friendly at 35 cents. A newer enchantment that is making so many waves in Dragon Tribal, call the Spirit Dragons. Yes, this is only for Wooburg Dragon Tribal decks, but again, like I said, a lot of Dragon Tribal decks are Wooburg. Dragons you control have indestructible. I mean, stop there. If that was even just this, you would just already play this card. On top of that, though, begin your upkeep for each color. Put a counter on a dragon you control of that color. You put a counter, if you put +1 counters on 5 dragons, this way you win the game. Yeah, basically, if you go wide enough with dragons, you got enough colors of dragons, you just win the game. I mean, you're probably already winning the game if you've got that many awesome dragons in play and they're indestructible, but still, this is just like solidifying, like, hey, alternative win condition. Yeah, you got it. You just win. There's a reason why they see so much play. Again, amazing protection for your team. On top of it being a win condition, on top of it, even if you aren't winning, just like getting extra counters on things too. It is such a solid card. There's a reason why it sees so much play. $3. Again, you gotta extend a little bit again, depending on your budget for that, but it is within reach. So yeah, a card that can absolutely help you dominate the table. An amazing Dragon Tribal staple that, again, definitely newer than some of the other ones, but still has made a massive impact. And finally, Crux of Fate. Yeah, an amazing sorcery for Dragon Tribal. Very obvious as to why this one sees so much play. A sorcery for 5 mana in black. Choose one. Destroy all dragon creatures, or destroy all non-dragon creatures. I wonder which one you're going to be picking for Dragon Tribal. Yeah, basically a one-sided board wipe that can definitely be game-ending. Of course, it can save your team just by going like, oh yeah, okay, like I'm not in the best position. I've got some dragons in play, but let's keep them in play. Wipe out the rest of the table, essentially. And then you're like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'm in a good spot. Or again, late game, it's like, okay, I've got these amazing dragons, but like, okay, if I swing out, then I get alpha striked back. Let me just wipe the board of all the non-dragons. My dragons can swing through freely, take everyone else out, and I just win the game. Or again, I have no fear of a crackback because all their creatures are going to be gone. An amazing one-sided board wipe for just 5 mana, 40 cents for this gem. Yeah, a great use in Dragon Tribal. And with that, this episode is come to a close. Make sure you comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.